Brunelle Donnerson was found in her living room. Jason Hudson's body was in his bedroom. Both were shot multiple times amid signs of a struggle. Like his grandmother and his uncle, little Julian was found shot to death. The murders have captured hearts across the country. As much for the senseless brutality as for the star at the center of this tragedy. Jennifer Hudson worked her way to the top the old-fashioned way, through talent and hard work. And the Oscar winner often credits her family for her success.
I've always had a positive upbringing and positive people around me, you know, and they would remind me of who I was and what I wanted.
Tonight, what many want for her are answers and peace.
Right now, police swarming the area. We believe a potential murder weapon has been found about a block away in a vacant lot. This is a block away from where little 7-year-old Julian's body was discovered in a white SUV. I want to go back to Natalie Thomas, the deputy news editor with Us Weekly. Natalie, I want to hear more about the murder victims. What do we know about them?
We know, Nancy, that they were a very close family. Jennifer was very close with her mother and her brother. She was just in our offices about a month ago and spoke to us about how close she was with them. In her new album, the liner notes, she's tributing, you know, her brother and her sister and how much that they've meant to her success, and they've been a support. Even in her Oscar speech in 2007, she thanked all of them profusely and how much, you know, expressed how much they meant to her. She was very close with all of them, and little Julian as well. Friends have told us that she was like a second mother to him, and that they would spend a lot of time together when she was in town, and she would spoil him with gifts, and he would always run around talking about her.
To Kathy Cheney with the Chicago Defender, what more can you tell me about the murder victims themselves?
Just they were loving people. Everyone loved them. They were just very nice in the neighborhood. People would always say that, you know, you come around and Jason Hudson, no matter what time of day it was, if he was out there, he'd, you know, fire up the grill. They were just really family-oriented. They loved the neighborhood, and they just loved people, and everyone loved them.
Well, I think the biggest testament to the mother is that she raised Jennifer Hudson. And now that she is so incredibly famous, to Susan Rosen, CNN correspondent, you see big stars, and you see pictures and stories about them coming in and out of bars, being drunk, doing cocaine, mistreating their fans. Never anything like that at all about Jennifer Hudson. And to me, that's a testament to her mother.
I think that, and also, Nancy, the fact that we haven't seen her in this whole tragedy here in Chicago. I mean, obviously she's grieving, but you know a lot of celebrities who'd be out there talking about themselves, talking about the tragedies. Not Jennifer Hudson. We don't know where she is, except that we understand that she's somewhere with a lot of security, and she's not out there talking about it.
Apparently has canceled all of her upcoming appearances. Joining me right now is a very special guest, and we are taking your calls live. American Idol finalist, I'm sure you all remember Diana DeGarmo, a friend of Jennifer Hudson's. Diana, thank you for being with us. I know you two were very, very close during Idol. Are the other contestants in touch with you regarding the Hudson murders?
Definitely. My phone's been ringing off the hook all weekend. I actually was traveling on Friday when the news broke and didn't get the message until Saturday morning when I woke up with my voicemail box full of all sorts of people calling me saying, have you heard, have you heard, have you talked to Jennifer? And unfortunately, due to the tragedy, none of us have really been able to get in touch with her and send her our condolences like we wish we could. But it's just, we are all just in shock and cannot believe that such a tragedy happened to someone, but let alone to happen to someone that we actually know.
And someone that is apparently just as beautiful on the inside as she is on the outside. What was her relationship with her mother?
She was so close to her mother. I mean, as close as a mother and daughter could be. And she always referred to my mother and I and how she was like, oh my gosh, I'm just like you and your mother. And she did everything for her mother. She really, her mother and her brother and her sister, her family was her whole world. That's what she did everything for. And to lose everyone, almost everyone, and a child, you know, in one weekend, it's an unbelievable and unthinkable thing.
And you know, to Dr. Jeff Gardere, I thought, having been a crime victim myself, that I knew all about it until I had the twins. And now the thought, and I don't care if they're up in their 20s like Jennifer Hudson, that I wouldn't be there to help them as they go through life. I mean, there's a lot of love in the world, but there is nothing like a mother's love. I think this is one of the worst things that could happen to Jennifer Hudson. To lose her mother, other than losing your child, is to lose your mother.
Yeah, and from everything that I've read, from what I know about her, from even studying her, because I've been a big fan of hers, she was very, very close to her mother. So by losing her mother, she's actually lost a lifeline, but she's also lost a brother and her nephew, as your other guest stated that she was close to. This is an incredible psychological blow to her and will forever change her.
Out to the lines, Michelle in Wisconsin. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good, dear. What's your question?
Can you tell me how long was Julian deceased? Do they have any idea?
How long had the little boy been dead? Susan Roshan, do we know a time of death on the little boy?
That is the question of the century in this case. It will either make or break the cops' case on William Balfour, Nancy. We don't know. We asked the medical examiner that specifically. How long had the child been dead? The medical examiner won't tell us. I think it's because the medical examiner wants to get its story straight with the cops.
To Dr. Michael Arnall, board-certified forensic pathologist, joining us out of Denver. Look, it's not a pretty picture. I understand that. We're talking about a 7-year-old little boy shot multiple times. Aside from the pathology, you know, someone that would do that, what can you the psychology of someone that could do that? How can you determine whether the boy was kept alive for a period of time after the other shootings? How can you put a time of death on it?
They're going to determine whether some common post-mortem changes occurred. They're going to see if the body was stiff when they found it. They're going to see if the settling of blood had fixed. Those aren't very accurate, but they will help to determine whether the boy died, for instance, the day the body was discovered or perhaps a couple of days earlier.
And but rigor sets in within a couple of hours, correct?
It starts setting within a couple hours, and it comes to a full completion in perhaps about 12 hours. After 36 hours, it starts going away.
So that would be a way to time it. To Donald Schweitzer, a former detective out of Santa Ana PD. Donald, what else would they be looking for to determine the time of death on the little boy? What, any clues inside the SUV they could look for? Maybe receipts?
Those were things that you would look for, but you also look for how long has that vehicle been there. There's people in the neighborhood who would identify that truck as being there 3 days, 2 days, or perhaps just a couple of hours, so that's a good sign.
Exactly. Excellent point. Back to Susan Rosjan standing there at the evidence location. How long had the SUV been parked there?
I've heard different times, Nancy. Some people said that this car was 4 feet from where I'm standing right now on Saturday. Others insist that they didn't see this car in this neighborhood until Monday morning. So we just don't know.
Okay, I want to go back to the weapon that has been recovered. Tell me what you know.
Well, we know from looking at the video that it's obviously a gun, and we know that one of the police recruits at the academy here in Chicago found this in some shrubbery about 1/8 of a mile from where I'm standing in a back alley. And we know that the police, however, are not willing to call it anything but a weapon. They wouldn't even say it was a gun or what caliber or what type, but they have sent this weapon to the Illinois State Police Crime Lab for testing.
To the lawyers, Susan Moss, Renee Rockwell, Alan Ripka. Renee, so often we see the weapon discarded right there at the scene. This is not that unusual.
No, it's not unusual, Nancy, but what a great find, because with the weapon, and what you haven't mentioned yet is potential blowback. They could possibly determine whether or not there's blowback from only one victim in that weapon. Maybe there's another weapon that hadn't been located, and thus the theory that there may be an accomplice, Nancy.
And very quickly, to Diana DeGarmo, it's true that Jennifer Hudson has just gotten engaged, right?
Yes, correct. And, you know, so many wonderful things were happening to her with a new movie, a brand new hit record, getting engaged, and then her entire private life completely being turned upside down. And it's so hard. It's so hard.
Diana DeGarmo, American Idol finalist, joining us tonight. Everybody, as we go to break at your request, photos of the twins. They're brand new. I'll post them. They weren't feeling well today, so this morning they had to stay in, and this is their new playground. have the heart to stop them. They went through the whole roll.